Welcome to Pot of Thunder, the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting, brought to you by Blue Microphones. They look great, and they sound even better, don't they, guys? Oh, yeah. Guess who it is? Oh, you know.
It's my buddy Andy.
That's right. It's your buddy Andy, America's little brother.
There's a hint of mariachi in the background of that.
There is.
All the good sound clips have that.
If you're going to have a sound clip.
It's my buddy Andy.
And,
El Rancho Grande.
there you go.
Just that trumpet blast toward the end. Mark of quality.
Just sounds like a guy getting his fingers situated on the trumpet. Boop. Oh, you know who's here, guys, right? You do. Guess who? Guess who? Who's over there? Who is it?
Bam! Bam!
That's right. It's Gnarly Nick, the Garlic Dragon. Back again today.
Where's the mariachi? You might have to add it.
We probably should go through every
It
clip
should
we have.
be on all of them.
It
yeah.
should be at this
Just
point.
a horn blast at the very end. The telltale trumpet tone.
And everybody knows that voice. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the breakout star of the podcast medium, a guy who has been described as...
He was a moocher, a card cheat, a country club golf hustler, a scumbag.
There he is. It's Chris L.
Nick has not heard that.
Oh, maybe he hasn't.
I've not.
Oh,
no.
okay.
I enjoy it.
And for I'll say what I say every time it's played. Everything accurate except for moocher. I have never mooched.
You take personal offense
Yes,
to
I-
being labeled a moocher.
Everything else is pretty accurate. Moocher, way over the line.
All right, guys, so here we are. Looking at both of you from a distance here, I don't see any bandages in your undercarriage, so I don't think either of you attempted the bottle rocket trick we talked about last week.
Or we successfully completed it.
Or yeah, I guess you're right. Or maybe you did it perfectly. You showed that guy how it was done.
Yeah, that's. There were people in our area that had stuff that was pretty dangerous looking, but
Did they fire it out of their assholes?
I certainly hope not, because I mean, this was heavy duty mortar stuff going on.
I don't go for that shit.
Yeah, it's been quite the point of contention around here on the
Fireworks?
local Facebook page for the neighborhood. People complaining about it.
You know,
It's like
About how late it goes?
Yeah,
or-
pretty much, and that the cops don't do anything. Well, of course they don't.
what could they possibly do?
That's what I mean. You're gonna interrupt a group of drunken people lighting off explosives.
And there's so many. I mean, I guess maybe some people in other parts of the world or country even can't relate, but basically, fireworks are totally legal where we live. And they're supposed to be, I think there are like these soft rules of you're allowed to set them off between this day at this time and then
Right.
this day at this time, but no one follows those rules. Basically, if they're for sale, people are lighting them off and then going back and buying more. Not everyone, but you hear them. We'll probably hear some during this podcast.
Well,
It's
of
getting dark
course.
now, and it's the 5th of July as we record this.
Friday night.
Friday night.
My
So,
goodness,
yeah,
it's
we'll hear
gonna
plenty.
be-
But yeah, they were going last night till
Yeah.
God knows when.
I fully
four in the morning. I don't know.
I fully expect to see them going off in every direction periodically as I'm driving home later.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, that's been a problem. That's been
It's people complaining about it, Well, what don't they complain about on the neighborhood Facebook page? Everybody's got one, I'm sure.
that's basically just
All
complain.
people do is fucking complain.
Yeah, I saw one where someone was setting off fireworks, and then the caption was,
How dare him? How dare him?
They memed up their complaint.
Do people do that in that on those types of forums where it's
Do what,
where it's
meme?
like a local where you might actually know people, or is it more serious? Do people
Oh, no,
throw
there's-
memes out?
Oh, absolutely.
really?
Animated gifs of,
Is it-
to express themselves. That's the new thing.
The Michael Jackson sitting in the movie
Yeah,
theater.
eating popcorn.
People love that one.
yes.
'Cause look at me, I'm going to make fun of all of you for having this
Exactly,
discussion.
right.
I'm
Yeah,
above
it's
this.
Just you lose your faith in humanity. You're basically like, these are my neighbors.
Yeah, right.
These whining pussies are walking amongst us.
My favorite thing is
It's
that every
terrible.
single post, if it's a complaint, at least one person writes, call the police. It could be like, oh, someone knocked on my door selling whatever chocolates for their school. Call the police. They're not allowed to do that.
Well, it's reading those pages is like watching the national news. You just get the impression that it's constant mayhem everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, flaming bags of dog shit on every front porch. Random people knocking on doors. It's like, what?
It's pandemonium.
What are you so afraid of?
Chris, you don't think that's the way it is?
I don't think so.
You don't want to believe it.
No, I don't want to believe it. Jesus. Do you guys watch the national news at all?
I don't
Any of the
anymore.
network?
I gave up
I
on
do
it.
not.
I mean, now and I shouldn't because it's really getting under my skin, but it's just like now I watch ABC News, World News Tonight, just to sit back and just witness the relentless fear mongering.
Yeah.
I mean, every
Y'all just don't want to believe the truth.
every newscast, there's some prolonged coverage of like catastrophic weather somewhere in the country.
Well, people love that. Weather is a big
Well,
thing.
I know, but it's just like you watch that and you're just like, the end is near.
Yeah.
The whole place is going to come
Now,
apart.
do you watch the local news regularly?
Yeah,
I can't really, because
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
do.
wow, I live right over where, okay, this person got murdered, this person got murdered.
It's all murder.
And it's a long 4th of July weekend, and it's without any sort of emotion, you know. It's just the newscasters like, all right, well, last year 4th of July weekend there were this many shootings, this many killings. This year we're up this percentage, and it's it's just an accepted thing locally.
When I watch that,
Like
I'm
it just happens.
Don't you think I got enough bullshit on my mind?
That's about it, man.
yeah. I really shouldn't be exposing myself to that. It's just it
I think
messes with your peace of mind.
I was going to say it damages your mental state. Even if
It
it's
really
temporarily,
does.
it puts you in a mood.
Yeah, it's just constant ridiculousness.
It is.
That's national news and your local neighborhood Facebook page are to be avoided at all costs.
You don't need that in your life.
No, you don't.
If you want to live a happy life, just
Yeah.
turn it off and unfollow that group.
And if there are kids in the room, I feel like local news is as bad as having, like, I don't know, Reservoir Dogs on or something like
It
that.
pretty much is.
It's pretty
yeah.
much the same minus the cool music.
Except for they don't really talk about rape in Reservoir Dogs, I don't think, as regularly. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
or,
news
you
is
know,
more hardcore.
Well,
It is more hardcore.
Just the feeling of obligation of reporting on the local pedophile who was a teacher at the high school who was arrested. Does that really affect me? Do I really need to know that? Who cares?
The local pedophile.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And I've never done the old. I know people who have, but the old. I went and looked up my neighborhood to see how many registered sex offenders there are.
You killing me, man?
I don't want to look that up.
No, me neither. I don't want to know.
I know people who have,
plus-
and it's always I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I can't do it.
Plus, it's like, you know, what kind of Google ads are you going to get fed when you go searching for that stuff?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's relentless pedophile
Yeah.
track. Yeah, who knows?
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. How about it? Well, here we are. Hot day. Just got back from the carnival, watching an Ozzy tribute band tonight.
Real family entertainment.
Quality entertainment is what it said on the sign.
So I'm guessing it was named after a song. Was it just the name of a song?
You know, I didn't see if there was a... I kind of saw there was like a banner printed, and for some stupid reason it was at an angle where if you didn't walk right up to it, you couldn't really see it.
Oh, so you don't know what they were called?
I'm pretty sure it was Blizzard of Oz.
Which is the band's name.
Yeah, I don't think they had a pun
Yeah, right.
in there.
Yeah. Next is the Genesis tribute band called Genesis.
Right.
Jesus.
Yeah.
If that's what they did, then,
I'm pretty
oh boy.
sure that's what it said.
Except they spelled it with one Z. That was a little differentiation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That.
I could be wrong, but I think that's what it said. But I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about it because I don't want to knock anyone for doing that, but I was just laughing to myself because the Ozzy guy, it's what always makes me laugh in the tribute band. It's not when the band's just playing the music, but it's when someone is doing the character. And then if you can have someone doing the character who has no business physically doing the character, that's what makes it even better. So there's this guy doing like the Ozzy voice.
The double peace signs.
Double peace signs nonstop. The clapping at the front of the stage, like at the audience where it's like 40 people not paying attention.
Yeah, with the fold out chair from a bag that they brought to the event.
That's exactly what it was. And then like the "We love you all," everything Ozzy says on tribute, basically before and after songs. And, the way he introduces songs and kind of doing it with a little bit of an accent that is not genuine.
How do you guys feel about that? You've seen some other tribute bands. I've seen a few where they've done that, and to varying degrees of discomfort from the audience.
Yeah.
Like, speaking of Genesis, I saw a Genesis tribute band years ago where they did literally everything that was done from a certain performance that
they
was
just
recorded.
Tried to replicate
They
it.
did literally everything. I mean, and I enjoyed the show very much, but it was like, oh wow, they're doing like word for word. Like, they're not tailoring this to the actual audience in front of them.
I don't know. I feel like there could be something to it. One, I would say if the band is not together and it's some kind of throwback, I would knock it less. Like, for example, what you just said, you can't go buy a ticket to go see that,
Yeah.
So maybe it's not as bad.
Because I guess, but it's a recreation.
But the recreation,
and it's getting close to hologram
it is.
kind of thing,
Yeah.
because it's a set thing that you don't actually adapt to whatever might be happening in the audience.
Right.
So are you telling me that in the local festival with kids all around, you had a guy saying keep smoking them joints before flying high again?
He probably did. I probably didn't notice it, or I didn't see that song. But
Well, that would make sense considering who booked them. The biggest dickheads any of us has ever encountered.
Yeah.
This guy who fancies himself the fucking local impresario. What a dick he is. I mean, him and that fucking Raimundo guy who owns El Taco Real. Two of the
What's wrong with Raimundo? What did he ever do?
you want me to get into it or no?
Oh my.
Kind of. I've had many conversations with you about the one guy, the local promoter who, we've all either encountered directly or indirectly in some way that we're talking about. Writes for the paper, book shows, blah, blah, blah. But what's wrong with Raimundo?
First of all, both of these guys are fucking failures who are somehow the local impresario and business leader. How the fuck does that happen? Neither of them have accomplished anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the one guy wrote an article about the flying errands.
Well, he had someone on his staff write an article.
And he put his
about
name on it?
I think it had the girl's name, didn't it? Or
I thought it was him.
Oh, no, there was one about the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that was from him.
So that was an accomplishment.
No, I was thinking the CD review was someone else. Okay. But other than that, go ahead, Chris.
Well, first of all, El Taco Real is probably the most overrated
Grossly
restaurant
overrated
in this vicinity.
You're the
El
only...
Rancho Grande.
Yeah,
way better.
Absolutely.
Taco Bell is way better.
You're
than
the
El Taco
you're the only
Real.
person that I've talked to probably ever from around here who has agreed with
Well,
me
then
on that.
everybody in
I
this
agree,
vicinity
too.
is a fucking
It is-
jackass.
it
then.
is
that
a-
place is overrated.
If-
Taco Bell on Calumet is better than that place. Okay.
I don't hate El Taco, but it's so overrated. I will agree. Yes.
I love how much of a local conversation.
El
this is
Rancho
turned
is
into.
so much better. El
Okay,
Rancho.
but everyone can relate to this.
Again, anything is better.
Yeah.
Name it.
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fucking Ortega box of tacos from Jewel is better than El Taco Real. Out of here.
So what brought you to?
All right, here we go.
Bashing Raimundo.
My wife, who, by the way, is her birthday today, on
happy-
the day
I
of
didn't
the release of this episode, not the recording of it.
I'm not too late.
Okay, she booked my 50th birthday party at that fucking Eat place that he owns. Okay,
All right.
booked it. Party was to be in December. She booked it in February.
Oh my! Wow. Way ahead.
So she calls in October to confirm the booking. He had replaced our party with Nomad Planets just because it was his friends. Because they had their
Total fucking dewclaw.
they had their fucking annual, bring a non-perishable good for the food pantry or whatever, and just pretty much just was like, okay, they're my friends. I'm not going to honor this other booking that was.
Did he have an
made.
excuse?
No, he
I
just
forgot.
said, "Oh no," he was just like, "Oh yeah, they have their thing. I forgot." So fuck him and his bullshit restaurant and his stupid fucking role as Mr. Business Leader in this vicinity. He's a fucking failure. Never accomplished anything. He doesn't have two fucking nickels to rub together. Neither of those guys do.
Total waste of skin and life.
Fuck the both of them. It's like that guy's a business leader and he doesn't honor a business commitment. Fuck him dead in the ass.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, well, there you go. Andy was actually surprised. Oh, somebody is talking disparagingly about Raimundo? How could this happen? Because Raimundo is a piece of shit. How's that?
I had no idea.
Fucking sack of shit. Fucking piece of shit in this bullshit restaurant.
I had no idea.
Fuck that asshole.
I guess.
El Taco Real. Fuck you, you fucking bag of shit.
I'm not as.
Oh my God! What could possibly be? You're talking smack about Raimundo? How could this be? God, you and your Hammond, your fucking Bishop Knoll sense of loyalty to this area.
Me?
Snap out of it, pal.
No.
Okay.
You're labeling me
This
in the
guy's
wrong
a
way.
piece of shit. One of the biggest pieces of shit in this whole region.
Here's
fucking sack of shit. This guy
Here's what I was saying.
fucking needs to be. He needs his ass kicked by me.
I have
Ever see that guy again? He fucking talks to me. He's fucking hitting the pavement.
I have no loyalty
Piece of
towards this
shit.
guy. What I was getting at was I didn't even know his name, and I didn't know that there was a story associated with him. I'm glad to hear it.
Fucking ball of shit.
I didn't know
Piece
he had
of
a.
shit.
I didn't know he had a presence in the community.
He's an asshole.
But now I know he has one, and it's not good. He's
Oh,
an
you
asshole.
didn't hear his name mentioned like 40 times at that awards dinner a couple
Oh, I
months
might
ago?
have, but I didn't even know it was the El Taco
Yeah.
Real guy.
Raimundo, whatever his fucking last name is. Go look in the fucking.
Probably doesn't have one. He's probably one of those
You know.
one name guys.
Yeah, go down the list. Whatever the Jones is of the Hispanic community, that's his last name. Fuck this guy. This bullshit restaurant. Yes, Nick. I mean, the how people fucking just love that place. It's like, just raise your standards.
It's a place.
For Christ's sake.
I know, like one guy in
Christ.
particular. It's popping into my head. A good friend of mine from high school who is kind of he's got the bon vivant kind of tastes at certain
Okay,
times.
that automatically
And-
makes him an asshole. Bon vivant. Get out of here.
And El Taco is one of like
Oh, fuck
It takes pictures of the food and posts it and stuff like that. Yeah. And
everybody raves about the cheese sauce. It's fucking Velveeta. Okay, get out of here.
I don't get the hype about it.
You shouldn't get the hype. It's not even. It's barely even that. Get out of here with that shit.
There's so many other
Piece
options.
Of shit,
so many better. Yeah.
He's my fucking fist across his jaw.
Raimundo.
Dickhead.
I had no idea.
Fucking piece of shit.
I love this.
My goodness.
His fucking wife runs that resale shop over there too. Get the hell out of here. Oh, we're the kingpins of Hammond. Yeah, go to hell. Put you at the bottom of the Calumet River, you fucking asshole. Piece of shit.
So anyway, tribute bands. Where do you stand on that, Chris? What do you think?
Okay, toggling over to fuckhead beret-wearing Tom Lounges.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm going to book an Ozzy tribute band for what's supposed to be a family carnival. Get the hell out of here. Stupid idiot. And this fucking lame banners all over the place. Get the hell out.
I think they were called Flying Highland again.
That would be great.
Well, yeah, if only he was that clever to put some kind of twist on it like that, but he's not. He's just an idiot.
Right up there with Raimundo.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They're on they're one half of the Mount Rushmore of this area.
Yeah,
Chris's Mount Rushmore.
They're a Mount Rushmore of two, each of their faces representing a butt cheek. That's basically how that goes. That's a Mount Rushmore for Hammond. Two faces that together make an ass.
There's a belt and crumpled pants right there.
Exactly right. Yeah, they're basically their faces are the ass of the guy who completely drops trow at the urinal. Piece of shit. Let's get down to business before we bore everybody again with our local shit that nobody else knows.
That's the local news
about.
Local news for tonight.
There you go.
Well, I guess we didn't.
Why don't those guys get shot 4th of July? Why can't that happen?
You want them to get shot?
Yeah.
That was the edit.
Why can't a car plow into El Taco Real?
I don't know. It's always the good places.
Right in the area where Raimundo is standing.
I
would whatever. What was that line from that comedy bit? I would jerk off to the autopsy photos of that.
That was it.
Asshole.
We didn't formally call it that, but I think that qualifies as the
How dare him?
Yeah. Wow.
How dare him?
of the week.
That was
there you go.
what do they call that on the? I don't think they do it anymore on newscasts, but when they would have someone come and do an editorial, an opinion piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the opinion piece for our broadcast this evening.
Yeah. Well, we were thinking of making that a recurring bit, the "How dare him" of the week. So.
That's a couple of how dare hims.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. How dare him book an Ozzy tribute band in the middle of the day at a family carnival? What the hell? Just use your fucking brain. Jerk off. He's friends with those guys throwing him a bone. It's like, well, first of all, if you're getting your bone thrown to you by Tom Lounges, reevaluate. Okay? Jesus. Fucking losers everywhere.
I think we're about 5 minutes into the actual
Let's get
surviving
down to
recording.
Seriously.
Yeah, to the surviving recording.
Yeah.
All right.
Unedited parts.
So here's what's going on.
Assholes.
We're going to do a random selection from the listener submission list, chosen by me.
Chosen by Raimundo. Here he is.
Yeah.
He's got cheese dip for
just
everyone.
pulled up.
Actually, I'm going to pick the song, and then Raimundo is just going to ignore that and pick another song.
He's gonna pick
I'm
a
going to
song
pick
his
my
friends
song
like.
10 months in advance, and he's just going to cast that aside 2 months in advance for his fucking buddies.
Oh, what a jerk. Raimundo.
Their canned good drive. And those guys were the same way. I brought it up to them. They're like, oh, yeah, oh, well. You know, it's like they didn't volunteer to step aside either. Lost a lot of respect for them too.
Put them right up there on the list.
Fucking bullshit, man.
Yeah.
It's like nobody. You can't count on anybody to just simply do the right thing. And in this
not gonna
case,
happen.
this was two factions. Neither of them did the right thing. They all were just out for themselves, self-serving bullshit. Fuck them.
Keeping the canned goods.
Yeah, go ahead. Do what you gotta do.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to pull up a random number.
It's Andy
And it's my
random
turn.
today.
We'll see if I like it. So we got this one, number 802. Let's see what 802 is.
802. That's how many there are now?
There's a lot, Nick. We're in the 14s, 15s, something like that. 8's in the middle. 802, I'm not a fan.
Move along to the next trick.
It's not going to work for me today.
Now, is that legitimate, or you just wanted to drop the sound?
This is legitimate.
Is that a tribute?
Okay, just to
Yeah.
just to make sure that everybody knows that if anybody skips a song, we don't delete it because one of the other two might want to do it later. It's just he's not in the mood to do it or whatever is his decision, and he's going to pick another one.
Yeah.
This is not the Kiss catalog where we're obligated to do every goddamn song.
Yeah.
We are under no such obligation with some of the shit that's on this list.
Some of these submissions from Ramundo.
Yeah. To fucking submit my fucking foot into his fucking jaw. Asshole.
Ramundo is in a Ramones tribute band. It's called the Ramundos.
Yeah. Well, I wish he was the status of all the original Ramones right now.
Deceased.
Except for whatever the drummer.
No,
gone.
he's gone.
Oh, good.
Too. Yeah, he's
well,
gone.
yeah, throw him on that pile.
Okay. So during
Hate
that
guy.
So during that talk, during that rant, I just did another one, and I like it.
Ooh.
So we're good to go. It's number 914, and here we go.
All right, Hammo. This one's called
Slave to the Grind.
Oh, yeah.
Slave to the Grind.
by the band.
Skid Row.
Okay.
Now,
We've righted the ship.
Now we're
here.
talking
We're gonna
here.
put this other crap behind us. Yeah.
Let's see. This was submitted by Michael Costa, and his comments: "You guys rock!" with an exclamation. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Unless he's talking about Skid Row, which I don't
is
want to
true,
give it
too,
away,
yeah.
but yeah.
Well, I think you heard our reactions over on this side of the room when the song came up. Okay, let me just I'll speak about Skid Row here. So I've never owned any Skid Row. Just knew of the hits from the the first couple albums and the videos and whatnot. So I recently popped for the 30th anniversary version of the debut.
original, yeah.
I gotta say, I was kind of disappointed from the other album cuts. I was not that impressed. And I'll also say that album has one of the worst drum sounds, specifically snare sounds.
You're talking about the first one?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
That album is a perfect example to me of the kind of 80s production that was really lousy, especially with regard to the drums. So I gotta say, I was not impressed by that one, but this one I still haven't picked up or ever owned, but I plan on doing so because the songs I've heard off of this are incredible.
Well,
Nick, what's your take?
We had our older brother had the original album, and I think Piece of Me is on that album.
Yeah.
Which is there are great songs, like all those singles. They're great songs, but I've heard them a zillion times. But Piece of Me, I will keep going back to. Like that's
your
the
favorite?
song on that album. That's the highlight for me to this day. I don't know. I remember when Monkey Business and this song came out, but we never owned it. I've heard Riot Act, which I think is a great song.
Yeah.
And isn't Quicksand Jesus on this one?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
This one, I mean, we'll get into, I guess, how we feel about it. But like Chris said, you heard the reaction when the song title came out, and I had, I think I might still have the cassette somewhere. I had Beside Ourselves.
Oh, I have that too.
Which was the only Skid Row I ever personally purchased, and it's even though it's an EP, it's great. Every song is great on it.
The cover of the greatest Kiss song of all time. How can you not like that?
Yeah.
Then you got the Judas Priest cover.
And the Rush song was a great selection.
Yeah, that's a good one. I actually own that too. Owned that before I picked up the first album.
It's kind of like Spaghetti Incident was before that, I'm guessing, right? Because it's in
Probably.
it's in that same vein where it's these really cool songs. It's not necessarily like
biggest hits.
Yeah, like covering someone's greatest hits or different people's greatest hits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I've never owned this album, but definitely this one and Monkey Business. I don't know if it's still on YouTube, but the performance of Monkey Business on Saturday Night Live, one of the greatest performances ever on that show. Just the fact that Skid Row was ever on that show is amazing.
I think twice, right?
Were they on with the first album?
I'm pretty sure they were. I could
did
be wrong.
18 in Life or something.
I don't remember.
I think they did Piece of Me for like the second song. I think that's what I remember it from.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure they did it for both
the fact
albums.
that because has Bon Jovi ever been on Saturday Night Live? I don't know.
I don't remember ever seeing them
if
on
they,
there, but
they could have been more recently when I wasn't paying attention.
like 2000 something.
I just
when they went country kind of.
The fact that
it's all right.
Skid Row, the fact that Skid Row is ever on that show, especially when you look at how they handle musical acts these days, it's pretty incredible.
So from the same era, what's the better? I'm gonna say staged, out of control frontman moment from that era. Is it Sebastian Bach? I'm guessing this is a thing you're not supposed to do because no one ever does it. But yelling something after the song, like kind of like you're at it, like they're doing a regular show. You notice that nobody ever talks
right.
before or after their songs on SNL.
Yeah,
said something Mother Truckers was like the end of it. And or was it Mike Patton crawling into the fan?
That's always Mike Patton. In any case where that's an option B.
That's the best, probably staged, out of control frontman moment on there.
Yeah, I didn't even know he did that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was awkward. I remember watching it and thinking like, okay, and then he made it back just in time to continue his part coming up.
If you watch enough live Faith No More stuff, even like the more recent stuff too, he always finds, I don't know if it's like a boredom thing or what it is, but he always finds something to do during shows. Maybe like he'll climb, like not like the Eddie Vedder climb the thing, but like he just finds stuff to get into.
Maybe it's
goes down and I don't know.
I don't. How is that not like Eddie Vedder?
No, I don't mean just climbing the thing. I mean like there's one where there's
like he goes exploring,
like a camera crane, and he like climbed that thing. I don't mean like hanging over the crowd and diving in. I mean like
just something to
obstacles or like going over the barricade and doing stuff in the crowd with people. Like it's just like a weird interactive thing.
He seems like the kind of guy where he's standing there. He's not gonna obviously pretend he's playing guitar standing alongside the guitar player.
Right.
He's not gonna stand there and headbang. Really, he's got to do something.
Yeah, that's probably where it stems from.
I would imagine.
He's not going to do cool rock poses.
None of that really sounds very original to me. It's all been done.
Oh. Pulls his wiener out. All the fun stuff.
Yeah, that again. It's been done.
Takes the cameraman's camera.
That's been done.
And then points it at his wiener.
Yeah. I mean, this icon of originality is being revealed to be a poser with every continuing comment.
Well, we're not talking about him. Anyway, let's go
we
back.
We were talking about him.
Well,
that's my fault.
Way to go, Nick. So Skid Row.
Ooh, he climbed over the barrier and interacted with the crowd. That's never been done
I didn't
before.
say that it's never been done.
Mike Patton, what a fucking god. Get out of here.
I didn't say it's never
Lost.
been done. I was saying that he always gets himself into something.
Good. So do a lot of front.
Well, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell? What are we supposed to talk about?
Well, it's maybe Skid Row.
Well,
The damn song
point
is
at
about
me.
Skid
I'm
Row.
trying to go back to it, and you're bringing it back.
Go ahead.
All
Bring
right.
it back.
Don't
So-
point at me. You pointed at me.
So 1991, this is the second album. Was this the first single, or was Monkey Business the first
Monkey
single?
Business was, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, what month did this come out?
This came out June 11th.
Okay, so like 3 months and change before before the beginning of the end for like 80s music, because September of 91 is when Nevermind and Blood Sugar Sex Magic came out, and those two albums changed everything.
Those came on the same month? Or
They came out on the same day.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Now, an album that had been out, I think, for a little while before this one, but is very similar to it, is the first Alice in Chains album, Facelift.
Okay.
And these albums are pretty similar in the fact that Slave to the Grind was like super heavy, way heavier than the debut.
Yeah.
And I think it was this album debuted at number 1. I think it was one of the first albums after SoundScan came out where they actually counted units sold. They didn't guess at it. And something like this was like the heaviest album to ever debut at number 1 on the Billboard charts, which I think was toppled later on a couple years by Pantera.
Pantera, yeah.
What was number 1 for them?
Probably
It's Far Beyond
Far
Driven.
Beyond
Yeah.
Driven after.
Yeah, that debuted
which is
at number 1.
Yeah, which is obviously
It's a
next level,
game-changing album.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculously heavy, but again, that's just a testament of what happens when you actually count units sold versus, airplay and critics input and all this.
Yeah.
And that,
What
you
about Metal Health? How was that? Because I mean, obviously that was years before, but was that?
know? It
determined
didn't
similarly?
debut at number 1.
Oh, it was the first metal album to make it to number 1.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it ascended to that level.
So did Slave to the Grind and Far Beyond Driven debut at number 1 because of the success of the previous? It has to be the case, right? The previous 2 albums were like the big the breakthrough
probably.
albums for those bands.
Well, the first Skid Row album was huge,
Right.
so people were chomping at the bit to get the follow up.
And but looking back, do people consider this better than the first album?
I would,
don't-
I would imagine so.
Do you?
I mean,
Okay, I would say no. I think I like it more, but I would think the other one
Probably to
would be more
to
of
a
like
casual
I
fan.
think I
That's
was
probably
just
one of
about to
those
say.
deals where that's what got all the classics on it. But
You know-
probably someone who's like they own all the albums. This is
Right.
probably
Yeah.
But the chicks are like, there's no I Remember You on
Yeah.
this. I mean, Quicksand Jesus is probably somewhat in that ballpark, but, this is a much heavier album, and I think people who are just into the music prefer this one. And then the third album, Subhuman Race, is supposed to be, I've never heard it, but it's supposed to be even heavier and even arguably better. But again, that's from a standpoint of people who are just in it for the music and like the heavier style of Skid Row.
And I'll just go ahead and admit that I'm not familiar with the material that came out after this album much. Like I know that they've had a couple. They had a singer that was on for quite a while, and then they've kind of had a revolving door. I think the last
After that.
year or two.
Yeah, basically, and this thought actually came to mind within the past week or two. It's funny that we're getting this song by this band, but basically the Pot of Thunder without Nick is essentially Skid Row without Sebastian Bach. It's like the other guys are there and it's cool, but everybody wants the original lineup, especially the original singer. As when I saw Kiss on the farewell tour in 2000. Skid Row was the opener, and they had that blonde guy singer, and it's just like, this sucks. This is not. I mean, and the band is great, but
and he's probably sounded fine, but it's just not what you.
And then
expect.
Skid Row was on the Kiss cruise that I was on. Sounded great, but they had one of their more recent singers, and it's just not.
Yeah, it's hard.
When you have somebody of Sebastian Bach's level, and what does that tell you about how they just can't stand that guy? Because just not that they're going to be selling out stadiums, but a reunion with Sebastian Bach, you could probably do an arena tour, possibly with that.
Probably have
make
to
some
have
real money.
You'd probably have to have a pretty big name.
You'd have to package it up.
You'd have to have like Alice Cooper or someone opening.
But people would fill those venues
more so than the
time.
current incarnation, for sure.
Oh,
of
absolutely.
Course. Yeah.
That's. I mean.
Or they could get big festival dates, which would be probably.
What other bands are there that are still holding out? I mean, Guns N' Roses obviously is not anymore.
Mm-mm.
I don't know who else is holding out where it's a thing where you hear both camps, somewhat talking about it, and just the one camp is like, there's, with no matter how much hype, no matter what opportunities you hear about that supposedly come along for them, they're like, no.
Well, they've never even hinted at the possibility of it happening. They can't stand that guy, and they will never work with him again.
What did he do?
He left some kind of message on Thanksgiving to Rachel Bolan
that ended everything.
Apparently, was so terrible that he was.
Well, and
like,
he's also
if
you watch that super group episode and just get it. Obviously, he was clicking into action and playing up things for the cameras, but interacting with that guy on a regular basis must be torture.
It would be, I would
exhausting.
I would imagine it would be very difficult because he's kind of like, I've seen stuff where
one of those
he's
guys always on,
and I mean, and he was hanging out with Ted Nugent on that show, and even Ted Nugent was like, yeah, he's got to take care of himself a little bit. He's got to calm down.
Right. And again, that was all like played up, and who knows how much character development was involved there. But there's no question that the Rachel Bolan, Snake Sabo, Scotty Hill, just the thought of working with Sebastian Bach again under any circumstances, just a complete non-starter.
It's amazing how long it's been, and there hasn't been. I mean. Last week we did a CCR song. There's been talk between them, even kind of getting back. They never have done it, but it seems like more possible with even them than with Skid Row. Skid Row, it just seems like that's probably never going to happen. But then I thought that about Guns N' Roses. So,
well, let's get into it and hear the band in their glory.
Let me just read you a headline from a few months back. Skid Row guitarist says reunion with Sebastian Bach would not be a pleasurable experience. That's the quote.
Yeah.
An understatement, I think.
They've never even left a glimmer of hope of that happening, ever. Not even to just get headlines. They won't even go there for that reason.
That's the only band I can think of. I know I keep going on about this. The only band I can think of where where they've never even said, I never say never. That's the cliche.
Oh yeah,
that's the Ace Frehley cliche right now.
Yeah, they don't even go
everybody.
there. They're absolutely adamant that it will never ever happen.
And I guess this is somewhat recent news because I'm reading more stuff from a day ago that Sebastian Bach made an offer to all the original members to come, an open invitation to jam with him. As he's doing
he's doing the whole first album,
30th anniversary of the record, and it says an exact quote from Sebastian: "I haven't heard back from them. So there you go.
No, yeah, he won't either.
That's like one.
Guys
That's
are
like
not-
one of those articles you see online where it's a 6-year-old's birthday party and no one shows up, and then the whole fire department or something comes over.
Is that what's going to happen?
Someone's got to come and come to Sebastian's party.
Scott Ian's going to show up and make him feel
Yeah,
better.
exactly. Evan Seinfeld will be pulled out from whatever rock he's been under for the past 10 years since that Supergroup album came out. What a fucking creep. Jesus Christ. Fucking delving into the world of pornography. What a slime bag.
If that's what he got himself into, huh?
Fucking fat ass getting naked on screen. Yeah, no thanks. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody even wanted to hear his damn band, Biohazard. Garbage.
I never listened to Biohazard, but I remember when I was watching that show and they were, the guys would show up one at a time. I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, he's in Biohazard?
Yeah.
That's not very...
I
that's
mean,
kind
how did that happen?
For
Well,
peop-
basically offered up his wife to the production team. That's how he got on that show, I'm sure.
That'll do it.
Weirdos.
All right. So, you guys ready to get into this? Any other thoughts before we press play here?
No, I think people are probably annoyed with the conjecture already.
All right. Well, this is track 2 of 12. Here we go.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this is a fairly heavy song.
Oh, yeah.
far. This is significantly heavy. This is crunchy.
Yeah, and I was just about, and I'm still gonna say it, but I was just about to say it, and then I'm like, that's not necessarily true, but there, you hear this, and you're like, okay, these guys are legit. Okay, that doesn't mean that if you're doing more stuff along the lines of the first album, you're playing more pop metal, more melodic metal, whatever you want to call it, that you're not legit. But in terms of like being in the same vein of like an Alice in Chains or a Pantera, they were definitely established themselves as being worthy of being included in that group. And I just want to get back to the drum sound. I mean, now this is what a drum set is supposed to sound like on a heavy album. That the snare sound on the first album has got what I frequently call the sound of hitting a cantaloupe with a baseball bat. It's just like this dull, washed out thing that doesn't even sound like a snare drum. It's just this big blast of I don't even know what. It just sounds like shit, and that was the thing that jumped out at me listening back to the 30th anniversary reissue of that album. It's like you couldn't have cleaned that up or fixed that.
They didn't have like for me. They didn't have a disc of remasters or anything like that.
Well, I mean, mastering can mean a lot of things.
But they didn't. But there's nothing beefed up noticeably.
I don't have anything to compare it to. I never really listened. I never owned the first album. Anything I heard from was either on TV or on FM radio. So I mean, it sounded probably better coming through the FM speakers. But
this sounds like a modern hard rock album.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's well recorded. It's heavy, kicking ass. That was one of the things that really blew me away about "Vivid" by Living Colour. As you listen to that, and it's like, oh my god, an actual drum sound is coming my way from a hard rock album in the '80s. Who'd have thought it? I mean, another example of just not good drum sound would be Permanent Vacation, Aerosmith. Just it's that washed out, just drenched in reverb, doesn't even sound like a snare drum. It's just terrible. But this is not that, thankfully.
just enjoying it.
Yeah. Like, I was trying to think of like what other band does the verse vocal remind me of? And it kind of like, I can't think of a song, but it almost sounds like something that like Gary Cherone might have done.
Yeah, and the obvious other comparison is Lane Staley. It's got that same
I guess
like
so.
almost evil sort of monotone, and then he kicks into like something higher register and more powerful. Exact same vocal style. That's why I'm wondering if these guys had heard Facelift and were influenced by it, or that just seemed to come together for both those bands at the same time. Because I mean, Alice in Chains was pretty glammy when they first came out.
But who knows if there was any inkling that this was going to be, at that point, was if they had heard the Alice in Chains album, or they wouldn't have known that was going to become the thing coming up next. So.
It's hard. Yeah, that's the thing. It's the timetable is so close that you just wonder if it was even possible for them to have heard anything or been influenced by it.
And about all of that with the grunge versus grunge killed hair metal and all that.
We
kind of stuff,
we had a long discussion about this with Mitch LaFon when he was on.
Now was it brought up the fact that all the grunge guys practically are gone and the hair metal guys are they've been having a resurgence for a number of years now?
Not directly,
rewrite history.
But, yeah.
I'm just saying, but that's all you ever hear is grunge killed hair metal. But hair metal, those guys are still around and they're still out there now, and people are appreciating it again. But the grunge guys are not. Hardly any of them are still around. Any of the significant guys, so they're not going to have a resurgence.
No,
the three biggest. Well, I guess you could put Eddie Vedder up there. I don't know, but I don't know if they count. But I would say the 3-4 biggest guys are gone. Biggest lead singers.
Cornell, Cobain, Staley.
I guess like Smashing Pumpkins is still out there if they count. But
they don't count. They're not grunge.
They're more artsy than grunge.
Yeah, but now he's rocking the Uncle Fester look.
Yeah.
It's just it's a bad look. I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, they're capitalizing on the nostalgia wave, which tends to kick in about 20 some years after something originally came out.
And that's what all the 80s metal bands have been doing. Yeah.
But the other thing.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
The other thing, band you mentioned earlier, which is kind of similar in terms of what they did and didn't do with their second album, is Quiet Riot. Okay, and I know Metal Health wasn't their first album technically, but it's the one that put them on the map. Mm-hmm. Second album, Condition Critical, like same formula, if not even more poppy and commercial. This is the absolute opposite thing. You got to give these guys credit for having the nads to be in the position of popularity that they were and go completely against it and put out something that's not pandering or overtly commercial as their first album.
I appreciate it, but do you think that looking back, that's a career mistake for them?
No, I think that just the timing in general was they were going to fall out of favor.
Yeah.
So
if everything was pushed like 3 or 4 years earlier, you think they would have more of like a legendary 80s status? I feel like they were just at the what was the first album, 89?
Yeah.
It's like the very tail end of that. Then this is 91 and
that was it.
Yeah.
So. But we talked about it a couple episodes ago, how many bands had a significant impact with only just 2 albums out.
Yeah.
But I just give them such huge credit for coming out with something that was just so much heavier and still commercial, but not as like formulaic. I mean, Motley Crue follows Shout at the Devil with Theater of Pain, which was way more sugary and had the power ballad Home Sweet Home and the thin production, was way more lightweight. This is not that, not even close.
I'm left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the pride. Tear down the red racial slime. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the pride.
conversation we've already probably beaten to death several times is the subject matter of this song. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. Follow your dreams. Almost.
I'm
It's
so
getting
tired
into
of hearing that message.
Yeah,
That's a guy who's given up on his dreams. Could you please stop reminding me?
Don't be a number, kind of a message.
Yeah, but
stand out in the crowd.
Yeah, but people, the world needs numbers.
It does.
Okay? It's like, quote, Judge Smales in Caddyshack. Well, the world needs ditch diggers too. And,
right.
We've talked about this. It's just.
Yeah.
Not everybody can be the king of the world. It's, the vast majority of people are your workaday types who allow the kings of the world to be what they are. Not everybody can be that person.
For anybody interested in this topic to the degree that they want further listening, similar subject matter, go ahead and listen to the Police song, Don't Want No Dead End Job. Don't want to be no number.
Same thing.
It's essentially saying the same thing. Yeah.
What song is that?
I think it's just called Dead End Job.
Oh. Yeah.
It's one of their earlier ones, but yeah, it's the same message. And as someone who's settled into something that they don't dream about, I can appreciate the message, but I can also appreciate someone who's not devastated in the fact that they're that they are just some slave to the grind.
Yeah.
I think that's what we just call a normal person.
A normal person.
An
Right.
hopefully adjusted person.
Yeah, upstanding member of society.
Yeah,
I think is what
doing what they got to do. I'm sorry. That second line, was it something about eating salami and don't get too close?
Let me see what he's talking about.
This might be talking about his lunch break at whatever his job is.
Yeah.
Some of the lunches you see in lunchrooms at your job.
Or the lunches you smell in the refrigerator.
They're a bit gnarly at times.
Yeah.
That's what made him quit his dead end job. The
When
salami.
people
Like salami guy.
people microwave leftover fish.
Oh,
It's
no.
like, don't do that. What makes you think that's a good idea?
That was one of the first things. I think it was like one of the first days that I was at Playboy. They're like, you can't microwave fish, okay? I was like, okay. They're like, okay, you'll be fine.
And a lot of places have it's not a written rule, but they have a popcorn rule because that just distracts everybody. It's such a strong smell. And
Everybody wants to go
and
find
some
it.
people burn it.
Oh yeah.
And that's,
Speaking of
that smells
Playboy,
there forever.
there were a few people that we went through like 4 microwaves were destroyed by overcooked popcorn.
I didn't know that.
It was like a trend there for a while.
How overcooked?
The same guy or what?
I don't remember, but it was like I remember at least 4 microwaves had to be replaced because it
Someone
was
was-
just charred and destroyed inside.
This guy was living on the edge with his
I
popcorn
mean,
making.
that sounds like evacuate the building kind of a thing.
Pretty close. I mean, you know how it is. You overcook it, it's just you can't get rid of that smell.
Yeah.
And when it chars the inside of the unit, you got to get rid of it.
All right, so here are the lyrics. A routine injection, a lethal dose, but my day in the sun ain't even close. So,
I don't know how I heard salami in there, but I did.
in the sun ain't even close. Not even close. I don't know.
And the way he delivered that second line was into Anselmo territory.
Like, oh,
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
And had Vulgar Display of Power come out by the time of this album had come out?
That was the next year.
That's 92, right?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Cowboys from Hell, though.
right, but I'm just saying that the Skid Row, Alice in Chains, Pantera trifecta were
It
converging on this same style, but seemingly unbeknownst to each other.
Either this album was ever so slightly ahead of its time, or
I think that
there was influence.
I'm pretty sure Facelift preceded this by several months, but just it seemed seemingly those three bands were going down this road independently, like in a vacuum, not necessarily being aware of each other. I could be completely wrong about that, but
Probably on tour together. We had no idea.
but you hear it from all three bands just going down that same road and doing it incredibly well, and it's all happening at the same time.
Yeah.
You better mark my words 'cause I'm instantly. Yes, indeed. You might beg for mercy to get by, but I'd
Old double bass beat there. I always enjoyed that part. What was I going to say about the lyrics? Oh, there was
Well,
something
and
there.
I mean, this is going to be a surprise to nobody, but Sebastian sounds fantastic on this track. I mean, thinking about
Incredible
it, like,
front man.
yeah, I mean, this is he really is. I mean, he's, of course, we talked about it earlier, where there's potential personality issues, and obviously there are issues with him and the rest of the band. Either supposedly caused by him or not, I don't like. Who can say? It's all hearsay for us, but just a gifted vocalist.
And the other thing I remember back in the day is that, that famous Rolling Stone cover of him on the, shirtless on the cover of the magazine. Yes, Rolling Stone and Saturday Night Live would do things to keep with the times, but make no mistake, they were never fans of this style of music.
Yeah.
The fact that he and they, whatever, I'm mixing up my words like Rahm Emanuel a little bit, but the fact that those guys, or the singer of that band, was on both the cover of Rolling Stone and on Saturday Night Live during that era is pretty impressive. They weren't doing that with Poison. They weren't doing that.
Yeah.
Go down the list. Britney Fox, Motley Crue. I mean, I think the Crue made it onto Rolling Stone, but they were not on Saturday Night Live. I don't think they've ever been on Saturday Night Live either.
I don't recall them ever. No.
So how does Skid Row crack through that? That's pretty impressive. That's always stood out to me as like, wow, how did this happen? It's pretty cool that they cracked through these bastions of, coolness and what's hip in music, which I don't get Saturday Night Live. It's like we talked about it with kind of what Lollapalooza has become. Friggin' Ariana Grande is a headliner at Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
And she appears on SNL, and it's like that's hipster stuff. That's quality.
I don't know.
Now, I mean, what am I missing?
I have no problem admitting that Saturday Night Live has moved past me.
I still watch it. I mean, I still enjoy it. But I can't think of the last time. Well, the last time I was when Gary Clark Jr. was on. But 9 times out of 10, because I watch it all on DVR now, which is great. I just go right past the music act. It says it's not for me.
Yeah.
Not meant for me.
Right.
I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But
it's been quite a handful of years since I had any desire to watch it.
I still enjoy it. I still think it's funny. I'm not going to be one of these guys that's like, oh, it sucked since 1976 or any of this nonsense.
I don't talk about it. I just don't watch it anymore.
But yeah, I'm just, as someone who does, some of their musical acts are just
it's like Disney Channel stuff. It feels like, and you're like, how is this with?
And
how
that's
is
what
this
I'm
what
saying.
like
It's like
20-year-old cool people are into?
Yeah,
doesn't
make any sense. But then these same bands are headlining Lollapalooza, or bands, artists, whatever you want to call Ariana Grande.
Things. I don't even know what that is.
Ariana
I think I
makes my schwanz grande.
I think that's actually a special tonight over at El Taco, the Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say Ariana.
El Rancho Grande.
There you have it.
Yeah, Ernest should introduce her set at Lollapalooza.
The hologram
Yeah.
of Ernest.
Yeah,
can come out.
exactly.
All they gotta
Complete
do
with
is
a mariachi trumpet blast right at the end.
all
of
they
it.
gotta do is fake the first name. They got the last one already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can be done. We can do it.
That'd
for
be like
Christ's sake.
that would be the only thing
Ariana Grande.
that would be the only intro at a festival like that would top the Bud Melman introducing Nine Inch Nails
Yeah.
at Woodstock '94.
He did that?
Yeah.
I forgot. Oh, that's right.
Punch your balls off. It's 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, you gotta love shit like that.
Yeah.
Ernest introducing Ariana Grande. You got to talk about subversive. It would automatically make her cool.
It would.
It would fly over everyone's head too, which would make it even better.
Ernest, the hologram of Ernest wearing the kitten ears. How perfect would that be? Pointing his ass at this crowd like she does.
Is that what she does?
Yeah, she does. I personally have no problem with that. Like I said, Ariana makes my schwanz grande.
Okay.
But from a musical standpoint, I mean, I've raised this question before. Has she somehow become legit?
That's
mean,
what I don't understand.
And like I said earlier, the meaning of the word legit doesn't necessarily disqualify
Pop.
yeah, like overt pop music, but
Right.
you know, Rolling Stone and SNL hold themselves up as these, you know, the thermostat of what's cool and hip.
Is that
and
still
pop
I mean,
culture? And,
SNL, I think, still they still have a grip on the public, I would say. But does Rolling Stone even at this point?
who knows?
man.
I mean, I realize
Yeah.
that they say it a lot of the same people.
I mean,
it's the same
basically,
scene, but
the physical publication has the weight of a gum wrapper these days. It's like who even consumes magazines?
And like from the beginning of this conversation, I was gonna add, I have to say, with the voice and the look, Sebastian Bach he's built like a rock star.
Well, and
Yeah.
go back if it's still on YouTube. Most people listening to this have probably seen it already. If you haven't, you need to see it. Their performance of Monkey Business on SNL, they destroyed that soundstage. Fucking awesome. And to see that, it was right up there with fucking AC/DC doing Stiff Upper Lip on SNL. That was incredible. I DVR'd that one recently. The Rock was the host.
That was on what?
Well, that was in 2001.
Yeah, but what are they playing reruns? What channel has SNL reruns?
NBC will do like an hour of an old rerun at like 9
is that
9
how-
o'clock
and they-
Central.
That's how far back they go when that's on? Because I've seen that on there, but I just figured out it was last week.
yeah,
Me too. I
sometimes,
thought it was
yeah.
like this season.
No, they
reruns.
go back in time. But
No kidding.
They had the SNL and they did
Rock and
Stiff
AC/DC.
Upper Lip. Fucking great, man. Brian Johnson, the very beginning when he the whole
Is it the I was out on a drive?
drive.
right, but when the band drops out, it's like I was born with a stiff, and then he sniffles into the mic and just born with a stiff upper lip.
I like the video. It looks like he gets a heartburn attack.
Yeah,
during that part.
right. Exactly. he does the same thing, except he inhales through his nose right into the mic.
Well, he's a master. I mean,
yeah, and that,
The ultimate male.
But this, yeah, pretty much, yeah. The Monkey Business performance from SNL, Skid Row, incredible. If you're a hard rock fan, amazing stuff.
The reason I stopped this earlier was that last line before. The last line of that verse, he said, "You better mark my words because I'm history." Does that mean like I'm history, like I'm quitting this job? Or does that mean like I'm going to be a part of his? Or is it a dual meaning?
You better mark my words because I'm history.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know. I'm gonna just guess it. Yeah, I'm not.
Kiss my
I'm
ass
not doing
on
this
the way out the door.
Is it
I
take
don't
this
know.
job?
Take this
and
job and
shove
shove it.
it? Yeah, or is it?
Sebastian
Bach.
Paycheck.
I was going to say Sebastian Bach, the new Johnny Paycheck.
Yeah.
Take this job and shove it.
Could have been a great
anthem. That
Could have
was
been a
in
great
the
medley
70s.
to work in.
Yeah.
Faith No More would have done that. Am I wrong?
Like in a live setting, worked in it for
Absolutely.
a chorus or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's climbing on things. Ooh, that's edgy. He didn't climb on the lighting truss. He climbed on a camera stand. Oh, okay. That makes it different and edgy.
You missed the point of what I was. I never
I
said
don't
different
wanna,
or
I
edgy.
don't want to catch the point.
It seems kind of angsty, right?
All I was saying was that that's a normal part of their live show.
Yeah,
I never
it's,
said
it's
original.
also
I
a
didn't
normal
say,
part of a million live shows.
I didn't say it wasn't.
Right.
I just
well,
said
why
that's,
even bring it up then?
Nick asked a question
Oh, well,
about it.
You know what
I wanted
else
to
Faith
know.
No More does at their live shows? They play music. Ooh, that's edgy. Not
Oh,
many
yeah.
bands do that either.
He breathes through his nose too. You got to see it. You'd never believe it.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Right into the mic. For you comparing
Nick does that.
You're comparing Mike
Stop
Patton
it.
to Brian
Just glad I didn't get some
Johnson.
fancy
outta here.
surgery lately.
Lately,
Yeah, no shit.
Nick had two.
Listen at Andy over there, high and mighty all of a sudden.
Rather tear this thought from my side, 'cause I won't be the one left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. Tear down the red rings and slime. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind.
That chorus, the drumming, like the accents going on there, that dun dun dun.
Yeah.
That's something that, thinking about it, could have been done wrong and could have, like, the groove could have been ruined. But the way that it's, because there are certain songs where there's accents, like vocal accents, and going along with it, like coinciding with that as far as drumming,
Yeah.
doesn't always make sense, doesn't always work. It does work here. And
think-
it made me think, hate to pick on this album, but there's that Ace Frehley live album where there are way too many accents.
Oh,
I know Andy's heard it, Chris
It's-
probably hasn't. But it's just like one of those things where the bass and the cymbal little explosions there.
constant.
Yeah, like that's a thing that, and in this particular song, I think it could have been done wrong, and kind of like you could kind of miss the groove, kind of like lose the groove for a second.
Mm-hmm.
But it still keeps driving. That's the point that I was trying to make.
It doesn't stand out too much
No.
on its own. Where
No,
it's like,
it-
yeah, I know what you mean. It's still part of the same
Which
groove.
I'm sure for professional drummers, that's a thing that they know about, they pay attention to and all that. But for just a butthead listening to it like me,
You think if I did that, I might have ruined it?
yeah, like if I'm sitting in with a band playing, I'm probably going to do all the wrong things. And,
See, now you mentioned the drummer, Rob Affuso, I believe is his name. I wonder why he hasn't linked up with Sebastian Bach and created that like dual faction type thing that you see with like LA Guns,
Yeah.
with
Queensryche.
yeah, it's like you almost wonder why those two guys haven't linked up, and the other three keeping doing their thing. It's interesting because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Rob Affuso guy is still active somewhat, still doing music. He hasn't like completely retired as far as I know. So I wonder why those two haven't linked up to try and sort of exert some leverage on those other guys to get them to cave in and do a reunion. Maybe he hates Sebastian Bach as much as anybody.
I don't know that I'd ever heard what his deal was with that.
Yeah.
They swallow their daggers, bottom in their trick. They told my intention, I'm brick by brick. I'm sick of the tide. Drop the bullets at the side. 'Cause I won't be the one left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. Tear down the red rings and slime. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. 'Cause I won't be the one left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. 'Cause I won't be the one left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. 'Cause I won't be the one left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. 'Cause I won't be the one left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. 'Cause I won't be the one left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. 'Cause I won't be the one left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. 'Cause I won't be the one left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. 'Cause I won't be the one left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the grind. 'Cause
right, so that was pretty cool. Incredible vocal going into the guitar solo. I'm not versed in Skid Row to know of this guitar duo who's playing what when, but these guys make a pretty formidable duo. Snake Sabo and Scotty Hill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Two great players. Ran into Scotty Hill and Cozumel when the Kiss cruise was docked in one of the cheesy gift stores on shore on Cozumel, and was with his son, and great guy, very friendly. And they were I mean, the band was outstanding on the cruise, but just without Sebastian Bach up front, it's not satisfying.
What did you think about that particular solo?
I thought it was good. I think it ventured into it sort of bridged that gap between an 80s shred solo and one of those out of left field dime bag solos that would become commonplace later in the decade. I thought it was pretty good mix of the two.
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, these guys are absolutely pros. It's not just in the mix a little bit. It was kind of like there were moments where I thought, oh, it's kind of a mess. I'm sure he's playing something very impressive, but it sounds like a bit of a mess.
Yeah, I was actually more concentrating on what they did at the rhythm. The different progression or whatever how they mixed it up underneath the solo. I was actually focusing more on that. I thought it was a good way to mix things up.
That's what a tasty rhythm man would expect himself to do. So
exactly right.
They swallowed their daggers, but I turned in their tree. They tore my attention apart, got sick off the tide. Dark full of bullets in the side.
just wanted to acknowledge that during that whole, I was trying to explain that drummer thing. Just probably like everybody else listening, halfway through I was wondering what I was talking about too. So just wanted to throw that out there. I was trying to figure out what I was talking about as well.
I understood what you mean. It's just hard to explain. That it's like a subtle accent versus something that's overwhelming and distracting, right? That's sort of what we were getting at.
That you disrupt the whole drive of the rhythm.
Yeah. I gotcha.
I won't be the one left behind. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the pride. Tear down the rat racial slime. You can't be king of the world if you're slave to the pride. Oh, I said slave to the pride. Slave to the pride. Slave to the pride.
There it is.
I don't know how at the young age that I was at when this came out, wasn't like head over heels for this song in particular and some of the other ones I've heard. I guess it's because we just didn't happen to own the album.
I remember watching it on TV, the video, and enjoying it.
Yeah, but I mean,
like with the daggers and the nooses and stuff like there.
I don't know.
Maybe it's a little bit too on the nose.
I can't understand. Like there's so many things about it that really I should have been a bigger fan of it than I was. I mean, I remember enjoying it certainly, but I don't know if it's just it wasn't pushed as hard as other things were at the time, I guess. But
that might be what it is.
Yeah.
What is that?
Who's
Windy
rubbing
noise?
up against some piece of equipment?
Is that Nick?
Me?
Oh, I think.
That's my cord here. Excuse me.
There you go.
Jesus.
That must be what that is.
Contort myself here.
It's wrapped around his shaft. Like a boa constrictor.
I should have put it on the right side over here.
On the less dominant ball. All right. Well, it's
I
time.
know they roll around in there. I mean, it's
Well, that's what balls do. They're spherical in shape. If they were cubic, it wouldn't
be
work.
okay. Just stack them on your thigh and
Yeah, that's true.
no problem.
Play Tetris with your balls. Of course, they wouldn't be called balls anymore, would they?
Cubes.
Yeah.
All right, so it's time to vote Sweet Surrender or Kick in the Crotch. I'm going to go first today. I'm going to give it a Sweet Surrender.
It's Sweet Surrender. Hell yes.
Great vocal performance.
Oh, yeah.
Great drum sound. Great choices on the drum kit. When to use the ride cymbal versus the hi-hat. And the way it's recorded. And
Some great little drum fill type
Yeah.
moments, like a la Tommy Lee would do. Throw it in every once in a while where you're like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah,
You know, just
but it's-
once in the song.
But it's not like overwhelming,
Yeah.
crazy drum solo stuff. He's playing the song. He's not playing crazy drum stuff. But yeah, probably my favorite Skid Row song.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
That's not a.
That being
bold-
said, I've
yeah.
heard 2 albums.
Well, that's not an unbelievable statement.
No, but yeah, there you go. How about you guys?
I'm gonna also give it a Sweet Surrender.
It's Sweet Surrender. Hell yes.
Yeah, I mean, like these guys are professionals. I mean, it's just everything about the performance and the song itself. It's like, yeah, these guys know exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it brilliantly.
They're doing it and doing it well. Sorry, I don't want another LL Cool J
Not just yet.
reference to drive you off the show again.
But yeah, I mean, I'll echo what Andy was saying. Great, everything about it's great. The guitar solo was a little weird at points, but I mean, it was getting. I mean, you know, we did all the Carnival Soul songs. It gets into the sort of affecty, kind of strange stuff, where instead of a classic just show of dexterity.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's great. And Sebastian Bach, even though he probably a difficult guy, great singer, no denying it. So,
Oh yeah,
fantastic performance,
incredible
there.
front man, and again, just without him in the band, it's just not completely satisfying.
Unfortunately,
Anybody who says otherwise is just kidding themselves, or just trying to put a positive spin on it. But and I get why those guys don't want to work with him again, but just don't be under the false presumption that it's the same or it's as good, because it's not. But it's definitely a Sweet Surrender for me on this one.
It's Sweet Surrender. Hell yes.
Yeah, I guess Michael Wagner was the producer of this album. He also produced the first album, so I think he made some marked improvements in the sound. He's produced some other albums that are better sounding than the first Skid Row. One would be Under Lock and Key Dokken. That's one that's generally regarded, especially in terms of the guitar tone, as a benchmark 80s pop metal, hair metal, whatever you want to call it, recording. So he knows what he's doing. It's just having never owned the first album and listening back to it, I just didn't care for the sound of it. But this one sounds great, and they killed it on this one.
All right, well, 3 Sweet Surrenders gives us a trip to the next round.
All right, Hammond, I got a question for you.
Paul Stanley needs to know if Slave to the Grind is a rock and roll boner classic, as voted by the 3 rock and roll boners in this room right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Wagner's got quite a list here. One of them is he did the mixing on No More Tears, which is an incredible sounding album.
Yes, it is.
And also did the mixing on Too Fast for Love. So Far, So Good, So What? Master of Puppets. I mean, you guys have got an incredible
and
resume.
Master of Puppets is that, that's one of those albums as far as production that pretty much everybody points to. Like, this is how it should sound.
Yeah, and then
So Far, So Good, So What, I would say would fall into the category of
not quite there.
Quite there.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right about that.
That's a weird... We'll get into that one day with a Megadeth song, but that's a weird... Putting that album between the other albums on either side of it, it's sort of a head-scratcher.
Yeah, I like head scratches like that. Kind of like what Skid Row did from first album to second album, going a completely... maybe not completely different direction, but like going against the grain where they were clearly on the rise commercially. And
Yeah.
consciously going against that is pretty cool in my opinion.
And it is pretty interesting, though, just thinking about how this album sounds. I know we've talked a lot about it already, but it's really... I said it before, it's a modern sounding album. Like, you would expect... You would put this up against whatever Skid Row or Sebastian Bach is putting out now. And sonically, yeah, I mean, it's... I don't think you can get much heavier than this in that style. Even though I have issues with some of the the older bands, and when they come out with new albums and I hear stuff from it, it's too crunchy for me.
Yeah.
There's just too much like open palm muting that's super crunchy in my opinion. And that's present here, but it's not. I mean, that's not what the song is. It's in there, but it's
Right.
not. It's not a song where that's the hook or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it sounds
And
just
this
as
is
heavy
also-
as those albums
Sure,
that
yeah,
do
Sure.
that.
And this is also their album in 1991
Yeah,
doing that. It's
which is
not
pretty
like
incredible.
2007, whatever.
Yeah, I just think it's pretty cool that seemingly independent of completely unbeknownst to each other that Skid Row, Alice in Chains, Pantera were all going down this road and doing it equally well. And then it just didn't become the thing that took over music industry, but pretty heavy albums. And, Pantera definitely of those, well, Alice in Chains did quite well, but Pantera obviously did quite well in the 90s. Skid Row kind of fell out of favor, mainly because of their pedigree from the first album, probably. They were pigeonholed, but and then they lost Sebastian Bach.
Yeah, they're a band that I never thought of. Like Def Leppard would be another one that I would never really put in a hair metal category.
Yeah, I mean, they get lumped in there.
The look from certain times, certain guys would have like the big hair or something,
Right.
but as far I would never really put either of them in there.
Like Tesla is another
Yeah,
one too. They never busted out the spandex
Yeah.
and did the super androgynous look. So yeah, but they all get kind of lumped in that just as a quick identifier. But this is definitely the heaviest output of any of those bands we just mentioned.
All right. So do you guys have your votes in?
Yep.
My vote is in. Nick, is your vote in?
Yeah.
Let's go Andy, Nick, Chris today. Rock.
Roll.
Boner.
Whoa.
And he got it! It's a rockin' the ball, yeah. Are you kidding me? Who do you think you are? I am David Wright.
It's the sound of a man breaking through from slave to the grind status to king of the world status, right before your very eyes and ears.
That must be a great feeling.
Yeah, you can hear it. He's literally going berserk in a bowling
he
alley.
loses his composure completely with the "I did it."
Yes.
That you can hear it in his voice, like he.
Andy once commented about it. He's like, that's the kind of outburst you would expect to hear from a hopeless person. This Andy's assessment of it. Nailed it. It's like, this is literally a man going insane
It is.
on TV.
He has no regard for what the perception of him is in that moment.
Yeah, okay.
He doesn't have to behave
It's like
himself and withhold him to any kind of social standards.
Yeah, exactly. And you almost expect him to, like, pick up a bowling ball and throw it into the crowd.
doesn't
like,
care.
like kill somebody.
Yeah. He doesn't
Love
care
it.
what happens.
I'd like
So,
to get him on the show one of these days. It'd be great.
is he still on the tour? Is he still?
He's
no.
probably in the senior tour
Senior
at this
tour.
point.
Okay.
But I think they cross over.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, if you disagree with us, we're sorry.
That's just the fucking way it is.
I would imagine he'd come to Olympia every once in a while, right?
Used to happen. I don't know if
Wait,
that's...
that
over
would-
in Hammond,
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that was a couple times a year, right? We'd be like, "Wow, there's like TV people, there?"
TV.
Yeah.
Like there'd be
it was
all
crazy.
these Winnebagos and buses.
I
out
would.
in the
I
parking
wish
lot.
that place was still open and they were still doing that. I'd go to one of those.
That's still open. The bowling.
But
I thought it was Stardust.
Oh, Stardust is closed, but it was Olympia that did it over by the Dynasty Banquets.
Okay,
They
yeah,
used to have it
yeah.
there. And, you know, we used to hang out around there.
Right.
Our friend Tom Kodal lived like a block away from there. And so did Flying Aaron. But anyway, yeah, you'd see, like Nick said, all the campers or
Yeah.
Winnebagos, all the guys. That's
we
like
never
their
went
vehicles.
we never went inside, but it was always that and
The tours in town.
That and Leon's triathlon. It was like, what's happening all right over here?
Those are the two
today?
big things that
Yeah.
were on TV in our neighborhood. All right. Well, you know what time it is.
Sing away.
Yes, Chief.
Baseball fever, kick it.
Simply brilliant. Brilliant SNL
there you go.
sketches.
Yeah,
Tim Meadows doing perspectives.
and that was in the '90s, so
Yeah.
somewhat recent.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. They still have good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a regular watcher,
I
just
just-
not of the
Fantastic.
musical act.
I just don't have the desire, but I believe it that there's still some good stuff there. It's just they're one of those shows where everything you hear, it's like all the late night talk shows. It's all politically driven, and it's just a turn off to even watch it.
Yeah,
because
and it's
all you
all,
hear is
you know,
politics.
And they're going for the viral social
Yeah,
media.
yeah, and it's just for me. I'm not
It's a
going to
sign
watch
of the
it.
times.
All right. So here we go. I've combed through the Yardzo questions.
Combed through the untrimmed pubes of the yard of questions.
During our Skid Row conversation, I went through many yards.
We still have yards.
We have so many yards.
Really?
We have a
Good.
lot. Yeah, we have a lot. And
Good.
I thought this would be a good yard for us today. So this one comes
Many
to
Andy achieved many first downs throughout the episode.
so many
He
yards.
was picking
Move
up
the
yards.
chains.
Yeah. This yard comes to us from Jerry Kern. Hey Jerry, how you doing?
Yeah, I recognize that name from. Yeah,
All right.
seen it.
Question 1. What song lyrics have you gotten wrong your whole life that you were really surprised when you found out what they really were? Mine was Cold Gin. I thought the beginning was, my head is broke and I'm so tired. Not my heater's broke and I'm so tired.
Both make sense.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a real bad headache and be tired.
Yeah.
Mental exhaustion.
Nick, you want to?
Nothing's immediately coming to mind. I'm sure I'll think of something, but
Well, for me, I'll just go back to the "Got Love for Sale," the Have Love Will Travel, I always heard it as How Low Must I Go? And I think my version's better, so I still hear it that way.
I have so many songs that are just like songs that I love that I've never bothered to look into what the lyrics are. So I'm sure I'm very wrong. It's too numerous.
Best not to reveal the truth.
It's too numerous, really.
Another one that's coming to mind for me is Eddie Money. We did some shaking till the middle of the night. I instantly heard it as her tits were shaking till the middle of the night. And again, my version's better, and I still hear it that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Too many.
Yeah, it really is too many, and it just like how Chris was saying. If I come up with one that I think that's what it is, even though it may not sound exactly like the lyric in my head, if I like it, then I don't want to know because in most cases it's just something lame that's not nearly as good.
Right.
I don't know. I wish I could give a straight answer on here. I know, like Got Love for Sale. Not that it's a song I really like that much, but Chris thought it was How Low Must I Go. I always thought it was I Know This Happens. Kind of like, I know this is how it goes. I know this happens from time to time. I know this happens. That's what I always heard.
Both of you wrong.
Yeah, very wrong.
I know this happens is really what you thought it was?
I know this happens.
I know this happens. I love that. That might even be better than mine. Anything's better than Have Love Will Travel. That's
lame.
the worst of the three, I think.
Corny. All right, question 2. What song have you loved that was ruined by its popularity and now hate and can't stand to listen anymore?
Oh, wow. I have, you know what? I have, we're talking about this era from this song that we did, and there was a fair amount of Nirvana songs that I really liked, and the status that they and like Kurt Cobain and Dave Grohl are at, and the whole thing with them doing that horrible garbage song that won a Grammy with Paul McCartney, just kind of like I don't.
Which one was that? The Foo Fighters one?
No, the one where it was surviving members of Nirvana with McCartney fronting it. It was a terrible, terrible one chord song.
That did suck.
It was awful. And can you imagine being one of the other bands who put a lot of time, money, sweat, everything into your song that's nominated against that? And it's like, oh, this is Nirvana with Paul McCartney. It doesn't matter that it's terrible. We have no chance to win this award.
That's pretty lame.
But
like those guys need more Grammys. Get lost with that.
And it's I still like the Nirvana stuff, but I don't find myself ever going and listening to them anymore.
Anything?
Yeah, I think those are one of the bands that they've done it. Like they've broken it for me. You know, people hyping them so much and putting so much importance on them. I know they were an important band, but it's a bit ridiculous. So I'd say that whole band. And but then there's stuff where I've heard it and it's been in commercials, and the commercials always kind of ruin it, but I still like the song. Like and even after, like if the first time I heard it was in a commercial, like I think Dear Mr. Fantasy was in, was it a Nike commercial or something? The Traffic song. Yeah, and I actually came to really like the song. I wasn't familiar with it before that commercial. So there's the opposite has happened to me. And like CCR, we did that last week. That's an example of like you hear those songs everywhere. But then as I got older, I'm like, oh, you know what? I like the songs even though I've heard them 100 million times. Right. Maybe not in the context that I would prefer. So that's what I've got.
Chris, what do you got?
I mentioned this. I've mentioned both these before, but I think I'm about ready to consume the first Boston album. I mean, that album just blew everybody away in terms of the production of it. And we're talking a lot about production on this episode. that sort of changed the game for how rock albums were produced and eventually ended up sounding like. People aspired to get to that sound. And just an amazing album, but just got so overplayed by FM radio and then classic rock radio that I never needed to hear it again. I'm ready to listen to it again, I think, and reappreciate it. I'm gonna just do the typical hot take, but it's just genuine for me. It's the damn Beatles. I loved them as a kid, but the thought of just putting on a Beatles song and listening to it for enjoyment of it these days is so foreign to me. I'm not interested. It just hasn't aged well for me. And I understand how outrageous it is for someone to say that and for people to hear that, given their stature of it. But I'm not interested in really ever hearing another Beatles song ever again.
Is it
the
material itself, like the recordings themselves, or is it kind of how I was talking about the Nirvana thing, where the material holds up and to at least a certain degree, but the status,
it's both,
and there's
really.
like a punk rock kind of I don't need this.
It's both, but mostly it's the material.
You don't want
like,
your street cred taken away by listening to it in public.
I'm not interested. I'll listen to the Stones all day, every day, perfectly fine with that. But I don't need to hear another Beatles song ever again. I just don't. Maxwell's Silver Hammer. Get the hell out of here with that. This is stupid. Interjecting their quirkiness and their humor. Get the fuck off. Dumb.
I like that. That's the one that you went with. No, I agree.
I could rattle off dozens of just stupid songs they put out. Rocky Raccoon. Get out of here with that.
You're not a Why Don't We Do It in the Road fan?
Actually, that's
that one does it for you.
That's not a bad one. I mean, but Mean Mr. Mustard. It's like, why even put that garbage out? Nobody's interested in
They're
stupidity.
Playing Clue and thought of a song.
Yeah. What do you think of that one, Raimundo's Cheese Sauce?
That was on Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah,
I remember
think
that
so.
one.
Yeah. Question 3.
It's a wonderful animated sequence in the movie.
I think Raimundo's Cheese Sauce and Real Love were those two unfinished songs that they completed the mid-90s. Or Free as a Bird. Free as a Bird, Real Love, and Raimundo's Cheese Sauce. That's right up there with their stupid, quirky songs. Jesus. Yellow Submarine. Get the hell out with that.
I don't understand.
You know my
that.
name. Look up the number.
Yeah,
that's a hard one to take. I'll agree with you.
When I'm 64, it's like, just put your comedy away. Not interested in it. You just agreed. Yellow Submarine. I mean, you listen to that. What's your?
The Beatles came to me, long after obviously they were broken up, and I don't understand at all why people like that. Not everything, but that song in particular, I don't understand why anyone likes that song. I hate every second of it.
Yeah. Especially the segment where they go and the band begins to play, and then you hear that like the sousaphones and all this shit. It's like, who signed off on this crap?
And just like, it sounds like they're bored singing it. And it's stupid.
It is stupid.
Dumb,
Octopus's Garden is another one.
Poor Ringo getting beaten up here.
Hey, play the drums, you're fine. Step out to the mic. I mean, his solo stuff is way better than the stuff he did with the Beatles. Yeah, that's it for me.
All right, we have a first here.
Beatles in Boston. How's that?
We have a question 3, but we also have an alternate question. Should I read both? And
What is this sorcery?
I don't know. Should I read both and you guys choose which question you want to answer?
Both.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been
All right.
giving bad answers.
We'll go quickly
Yeah,
here.
but this is going to set a rough precedent. You got fuckers are going to be sending in 4 now.
I think
Follow the direction.
Well, he did say alternate questions. So I don't know if it's on me to choose it. I don't know.
Why would you
probably.
even submit an alternate
He has too many good
question?
ones. I think you guys will both be able to deliver quick answers to both of
okay,
these. So
good.
let's do this.
Yeah, but this is, I'm telling you, this is going to open up a can
Well,
of
and
worms.
Andy will snuff it out.
I'll snuff it out.
Everybody breaking the rules.
I like both of these, so we're going to do it.
All right.
Going forward, I'll just choose an alternate if someone does it again. All right, here we go. Question 3. When the Pot of Thunder podcast takes off in the near future and skyrockets you to fame and fortune,
People have been saying that for 6 years now.
what is the first big-ticket item you will purchase?
Mine's easy.
What's yours now?
I will try to find I don't know how big ticket it is, but it's out of my price range right now. I'll try to find an original marked up script that was used by Jack Benny during one of his radio broadcasts. His actual script with his notes and the one he read off of.
Are those available every once in a while?
It's like one of those things where you'll see something on like an auction, you know, like one of those. What's the company that does the auctions that they'll do just
Sotheby's.
Yeah, I think that might be it. And it's just a ton of old memorabilia and things like that. Every once in a while you'd see something like that, and I'd be like, oh, I don't need it. But if that's one of those things where if you had the opportunity and the disposable cash flow, that'd be pretty awesome to have.
Good one. Chris?
I would like to buy a large piece of land in a rural area and just have it as a place for rescue dogs to live. Like talking like 80 to 100 dogs.
That's nice.
That's actually the one thing I can honestly say would be my dream in life would be to do that, and touring the U.S. in a tricked out RV. I plan on doing that after retirement, but I would love to have a huge plot of land where all the dogs who are ownerless can come and live out their best lives.
Do their thing.
Yes.
All right, and question 4. If you were arrested with no explanation given, what would your friends assume you would have done?
Tax evasion.
That would be the thing, huh?
I would imagine. What would I be most likely to do?
Road rage? I don't know. No, I don't.
Well, not these days.
No.
I don't follow people to Hegwish and give them the finger anymore.
Just to give someone the finger, you cross state lines.
Well, for me, given the direction of tonight's discussion, the obvious answer would be beating the fucking shit out of Raimundo.
Yeah, that's everybody would be expecting that's what happened. They'd be looking for a sister article about local entrepreneur.
Yeah,
or a local kingpin.
Yeah, local failure. How's that one?
Local failure beaten to a pulp headline. All right. Well, thank you to Jerry.
Failure. The word failure carved into his forehead.
Yes. Spelled out in urine on his face.
Did this guy ever wrong you before the birthday thing? Or you just thought his restaurant was overrated?
Yeah, and just the way he conducts himself, like he's a fucking big shot, and he's anything but.
Okay.
Hate people like that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows people like that. You
totally.
know? They fucking walk around like they got something going on, and you know damn well they don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know this guy at all.
Well, you're not missing everything.
Never came across him. I always felt
you're not missing.
The restaurant was overrated.
Thank you.
That's about as far as I can go.
Nick and I, we are of like mind. That's why the chemistry is so good. The fact that we're in the vast minority with that attitude is like, what? How does this happen? What is?
Well, I think if not that people listening really care, but I think with that place, the reason is that it was the only restaurant that served that type of food when it opened. So everyone got addicted to it or whatever, and then they have sentimental reasons.
Yeah, great.
And they haven't been able to get over it and go to and accept the better restaurants that opened in its wake. Because you always hear people like, "Oh, I used to go there with my grandparents." It's always something like that. It's not like, "Oh, they have the best food." It's that was where everyone
that definitely ain't it.
No,
believe me.
That was where everyone from like 30 miles in any direction. That was where they had Mexican food before they had Mexican food everywhere else around here.
Yeah, that's whatever. It's crap. It's not. Taco Bell on Calumet is better than that place.
All right. Well, thank you to Jerry for your Yardo questions. And if you want to send a Yardo questions, whoever you are, even if you've sent some over in the past, send another one. Go to potofthunder.com and make it happen.
See, that's a you never know what's going to touch a nerve in this room with any of us. And we wait for the powder keg to be tripped off. We don't even do it intentionally anymore. It just seems to happen organically.
Every once in a while.
Neither of you guys could have predicted.
I had no idea. That's why I was so surprised. I just didn't know that there was a reason to be upset with that place other than just not really liking it that much. I didn't know who the owner was, how he behaved, and what he had done to your family.
Right. And you know what? And you don't know about that because I didn't take to Facebook and defame this guy, or I didn't even tell you this in confidence. It just happened, and now it's out in the whole universe here. But it's bullshit. You running a business, or what are you doing over there?
Yeah. Oh,
jackass.
He's a jackass.
Yeah, fuck him and his shit restaurant.
Did that other place ever even it's just like a rental place, that eat place?
Yeah, it's not a regular. I would say it's a...
Why would it have a sign that says eat?
Because it looks from the outside like it's a restaurant, but it's not. It's a venue rental.
It's not. It doesn't have a regular business hours. Put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Raimundo.
Ridiculous.
We'll read Raimundo's guaranteed 15 yards of questions coming in from somebody calling themselves that.
Someone on Twitter will be following us named Raimundo.
I think Raimundo's going to book the Ozzy tribute band at his rental-only venue in the near future. Line around the block for that shit.
For the Blizzard of Oz.
That band will bump my 60th birthday party. It was supposed to have been held at that venue.
There's going to be this pre-Beatles tribute band playing there too for the Beatles Fest.
They're
going to. The Quarrymen are actually going to be there.
Yeah,
that's the name of the tribute band.
That's
right.
Good.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Maybe Blizzard of Raimundo will be booked.
Right. See, I just did a Brian Johnson-esque snort right into the mic.
That's good.
That's what badasses do.
All right, before we go, I want to ask Chris, after having encountered Raimundo personally, what tribute band would he be most fit to front? What legendary frontman does he have similar qualities to?
I don't know. Blood, Sweat, and Tears, maybe. Those dumpy looking guys who are in that band. Canned Heat, maybe.
That's good.
Seen that fucking guy? The Woodstock footage. Just this fat ass in overalls. But that sounds
perfect.
like Raimundo's speed. Dickhead.
All right. Canned Fuego.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
End the dead air.
Ooh. I just wanna marry the podcast. I just wanna marry the podcast. Would you marry me? I just wanna marry the podcast. Gonna go down on my knee and ask that podcast to marry me.
Did she say there were other guys there?
Were there other guys there?
How the fuck she gonna know who this?